Hey, it's Michael Ash. How are you guys? So recently I was speaking down at the Creative Circus down in Atlanta. I've been on the board of directors there for a few years, maybe 10 years actually. And usually when I go down there, I don't have an idea what I'm going to talk about. I really wing it. I put the website up and I talk about my photographers and about the business. But actually this time I went down, which was about 10 days ago, I actually had a plan. I wanted to talk about the history of photography, the history of design, the history of advertising. Not that I know all this stuff, but I know what I like. And I really think for you young photographers and even older photographers, it's super important that you know where you came from. You need to go back in history with photographers, people like August Sander and Cartier-Bresson and Richard Avedon and Lillian Bassman and Helmut Newton and Irving Penn, and there's so many, David Bailey, Vivian Mayer, Raymond Meyer, Andreas Gursky. You need to go back and look at their work and be inspired by what they did in the past and what made them tick, which will allow you then to take a big leap and find your inspiration to take steps forward to find your own visual voice. For you art directors or designers that are listening to this, people like some great designers from Alexei Brodovich in the early 40s at Harper's Bazaar to Fabien Baron in the early 90s when he redesigned Harper's Bazaar. People like Stefan Stagmeister, George Lois, Paula Scher, Michael Beirut, David Carson, Milton Glaser, Saul Bass, John Hegarty. These are great art directors. Rich Silverstein, Rick Boyko, Mike Tesh. I mean, I got a list and list of people. But what I find is important for the modern day photographer and visual artist is to know where you've come from. And if I encourage you, photographers, to go back to the photo annuals and the advertising annuals and look back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and look at what's been done. Look how simple the work was. Look how simple the photography was. Look how simple the art direction was. Look how simple the advertising was. When I was at the Creative Circus, one of the things that impressed me is that they had every communication arts annual from the mid-50s until now. And I think that as the years have gone on, because we have so much information, clients who are now running the show, unfortunately, are not allowing the art directors and the agencies to do what they do best. We find ourselves with so much information that you don't know what to look at. So less is always more. So as a photographer, you should be shooting less things. No disrespect for David LaChapelle, but he has way too much stuff in his photographs. If you look at him and Irving Penn, you see night and day. But preferably, I love Irving Penn and Newton and Raymond Meyer and people like that just have a simple voice, a simple direction in how they see and how they light. Some of the contemporary photographers that I personally love are guys that I represent, like Kenji Aoki and Simon Harsent and Peter Hapek, who I represented for a while, Duncan Sim. Years ago, I brought this dude, Harry DeZitter, into America. The main idea about this video is that go backwards to get ahead. Look in the photo annuals from Communication Arts, which is really the Bible of the business, and go back into looking at the photo books from Irving Penn and Annie Leibovitz and Richard Avedon and all these people, Helmut Newton. Go back and look. David Bailey, go back and look and see what they did. I remember David Bailey back in the 60s. There's actually a video called Fame, Fortune, and Photography in England back in the early 60s, or maybe it came out in the early 70s. But it really showed the British invasion into America, into New York, and it's, fucking awesome. That's called Fame, Fortune, and Photography. Anyway, but there's a list of photographers that you could find anywhere online. But go back and look at things from the past, which will help inspire you to move forward and have your own visual voice in the future. So my Twitter account is @AshPhotoAgent. My Instagram account is m.ashpartners. My website is michaelashpartners.com. So come to me with questions, comments, anything you want. Let's keep this thing going, and have a nice day. Later.